from a thief. Recognize a lover from a thief. So here's the question. How do you recognize a lover from a thief? And it's funny how Christine kind of popped up with what she's talking about, with the qualities she was talking about. Is that a lover or is that a thief? Is that person a lover, in it for you, or is that person taking for you? You know what I'm saying? It's funny how she mentioned all that, because that's kind of what part of this is about. How to recognize a lover from a thief. So I'm going to answer it for us, kind of like, but we're going to go on a journey. So these are some things about deception, because sometimes a lover ain't a lover. Sometimes the thing you think is a thief isn't really a thief either. Okay? But deception. These are quotes from last week. There are two ways to be fooled. One is to believe what is not true. The other is to refuse to accept the truth. All right? Guys, get that. Pretty good. Back in Thessalonians 2:3. First part of verse 3 says, don't let anyone deceive you in any way. You know, that's why when Christine prayed for discernment, what is discernment? It is the ability to tell if that's right of God, it's truth, or not. Okay? For 1 Corinthians 3:18, do not deceive yourselves. If any of you, do not deceive yourselves. Do not be deceived by anything. Do not, and then Paul says, do not deceive yourselves. If any of you think you are wise by the standards of this age, you should become fools that you may become wise. And those who are arrogant enough to think they got it all figured out usually have a hard fall. Pastors, presidents, everybody. Okay? Alright? And one last thing, John 10:27, my sheep listen to my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. And that goes back to last week's lesson. Why didn't the people not know that that guy was a phony? And then when they found out the truth, go back up there, there's one way to, there's two ways to be fooled. One is to believe what is not true, and they believe what was not true. And the other is they refuse to accept what is true. Man, we are, when God made us, I don't know what happened. Maybe some of us were dropped on our spiritual heads or something. I don't know. You had to go back to last week's, lesson to know what I meant by that. But I think today it is harder than ever to recognize a lover from a thief. And that's what Christine and that whole conversation was about, and not knowing it. And this is why, because the thief will mask himself, or she will mask herself, as a lover, as an angel of light. You know the Bible did that. Who in the Bible did that? Lucifer. Yeah, you know who did that? Satan. So when people do that, where does that come from? Where does that behavior, where does that attitude, where does that heart come from to deceive? Yeah, it's demonic. All right, but let's look at the lover. I'm going to define the lover right up front. I'm going to cut this. I'm going to just lay it out there. And this is a verse I was actually going to use for, for Easter, but I can't use it now because I'm going to use it today. Actually, here we go. The lover. This is one of the most beautiful verses in the Bible, John 13:1. It was just before the Passover festival. Jesus knew that the hour had come for him to leave this world and to go to the Father, having loved his own who were in the world. He loved them to the end. Having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. He didn't abandon us. He didn't reject us. He loved us in this world. And he loved us to the end. He went to that cross, not just for his friends then. He went there for us. He loved us to the end. You got to think about it. Jesus is the lover of our souls. It goes back to that song earlier in the worship set. You got to figure, Jesus is facing the cross. You understand? He's facing death. He's facing to be scourged and beat and bloody. He's going to take the beating that no man has ever endured and ever had. He was faced with being completely alone. He was faced with his Father turning his back on him because his Father couldn't look at the sin that was on Jesus that he took on for the world. He was going to be abandoned. He was going to be rejected. He was going to be beat. He was facing the cross. And he was also facing the very people that he had healed, loved, touched, prayed for. And they were going to turn their backs on him. And they were going to cry, crucify him. That man, knowing all this is coming, having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. That's who loves you. That's who loves me. Or the person who will manipulate you, use you, steal your heart, steal your love, throw you away, trample under your feet. They're not your lover. Jesus is your lover. And the only way you can truly love is to have the heart of Jesus in you. Then you can love. And until that happens, you're just doing it out of your own self, and on yourself, we know love because he first loved us. That's powerful stuff. That's how you recognize a lover. Who puts you first? Who will face death to do right by you? Who won't walk out on you? Who won't gossip behind your back and destroy you and divide you from your family or your church or anything else? Who will love you to the bitter end? That's love. That's love. And that's a love we don't understand today. Even the best of us don't. That's how you recognize the lover. Well, what about the other side? What about the thief? How do you recognize the thief? Well, the Bible's kind of clear. You know, everybody knows it. Haley left, but I don't know why she sent it to me. I don't know if she was calling me that or not, but she sent me John 10:10. That's what she sent me. The thief came to steal, kill, and destroy. She sent it to me, but didn't say nothing else. I'm like, what are you trying to say to me? Are you talking about your grandma, your mama? I know you ain't talking about me. You talking about some boy at school? I never got to ask her. Since she had to leave. I'll ask her later. But anyway, the Bible's clear. A thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. We all understand that, right? But what I want to look at today is look a little bit deeper at how the thief is able. How is the thief able to steal, kill, and destroy? How to recognize a lover from a thief. Right? You ever watch that show on MTV? Catfish? Yeah. Yeah, I like Catfish. I like the show, actually. I get tired of, dude, if you're a guy and somebody's acting like a girl, it's another guy. That's what I learned. Because I think about 50-60% of them are always the same sex. And, yeah. There's some crazy stuff on there. But you know what? You learn a lot about human nature by watching some shows like these. Now, sometimes they stage them and they stack the decks to get ratings. But to learn what human nature really is, you can get an eye view as a pastor into human nature and then look at it through the Bible. It's really eye-opening. But in this show, the Catfish, all right? The cat, for those of you who don't know, here's the show. The guy made based on his life because somebody catfished him online. What it is, a catfish is somebody online is pretending to be something that they aren't, all right? All right? They build this online identity. They usually have fake pictures, a fake story, and all this stuff. They built this whole entire world that isn't real, and they prey on some unexpected person. It doesn't, maybe it's a person who doesn't have this, or doesn't have looking for love, or looking for. They prey on people. When what the catfish is trying to do is get into a person's heart and mind so they can manipulate them, so they can deceive them for whatever reason. Sometimes it's because they've been hurt. They're broken. And they're just looking for love, and the only way they know to do it is to manipulate people, fake people, trick people into giving it to them because they can't have the real thing. And I get a lot of them have bad stories, have rough stories, but it isn't right to do this. So they fake this intimacy, they fake this trust, they act like they're showing you their whole heart, and the person on the other end is like, man, I found like a true friend, I found my soulmate, and you start pouring out your heart and your soul and everything, and you're telling all these things back and forth, and I'm in love, and I'm in love. And the way the show works is then they try to put you two together because the catfish will never let you actually see them. They'll never actually show up to a meeting. They don't want you to see them. And that's the whole catch. Why would they hide who they are? Why won't they? And some of these people have been waiting 5 and 10 years of talking online and in love and all this stuff, and the person has never seen them. This is crazy stuff. Now here's the deal. The catfish pretends to be a real friend, pretends to be a lover. They pretend to be somebody with honor, integrity, character. They pretend to be somebody that you can trust, somebody that you can believe in. But in reality, most of the times, it's all a lie. Because they're deceiving you. Now, the real person, like I said, can have some real issues. But what happens is, because of this, of the own selfish, dysfunctional behavior, the selfish desires of a person's heart to have love, to have friendship. A lot of these people that are catfishing, that are in relationships, you're going to pay for the person who hurt them. Yeah. Some girls have been destroyed by a man, a husband, a father, and every guy they date, they're going to destroy every guy they date. And guys are the same way. And this is what's happening in these online relationships a lot of times. I mean, I get. Now here's what happens is the catfish will abuse you, deceive you, manipulate you. They will create chaos into your life. They will instill fears, confusion, doubts, uncertainties because they never really do what they say they're going to do. You guys get what's happening here? And because the victim is usually pure, right? Unsuspecting, trusting. When you open your heart and life up to somebody like that, you're actually giving them the key to take your car and ram a tree or a wall and destroy you. Okay? What happens when you open up to somebody, even as a friend, and you share all these deep secrets and hurts and things, and if they're one of those people who are catfishing you, then they'll take everything you told them and go to your spouse or go to other people and use it against you and destroy you. Catfish will use everything good, real, pure against the victim. For the catfish's own personal desires, needs, and their own healing, at the expense of their victim, they will leave the victim an emotional, spiritual, physical mess, feeling betrayed, used, shamed, guilt, dirty, lost, and confused. And the thing about all these shows, watching these catfish and watching people who really hurt people and use people and deceive people, is this: they have no remorse, they have no heart, they have no conscience. Okay? And sometimes, in fact, most of them live to hurt other people, to make somebody else feel their pain. Pain that was inflicted on them. Somehow they get this sixth sense of satisfaction. And that's scary. And I told Justin when we were talking, we did my sermon at the house Friday. A lot of conversations we've had about life. Because if we're going to heal this world, we've got to understand the world we're trying to heal. That's right. All for selfish gain of the catfish. The victim becomes a pawn. They will manipulate you, your emotions, your thoughts, your actions, and you can't. You're damned if you do. You're damned if you don't. You understand what happens when you give people control? You become a pawn, and they will use you against yourself. They will use you against your own relationship with God. All right? This is crazy. And I'm going to tell you, the catfish at the core is dark, it's evil, and as we've already said in here, no remorse, no heart. You can spell that with D-E-M-O-N-I-C. Demonic. It is demonic. Something's broken. And they have given control over something. In real life, let's take it off the online catfish. In real life, this happens in real life. People come into your life. People come into your family. People come into your kids. People come into your church. And they pretend to be something they aren't. They pretend to be healthy. They pretend to be the victims of things in their past. And they're just looking for love. They're looking for relationships. They pretend they want a healthy, loving church and a healthy, loving relationship, and they want a healthy, loving woman, and they want a healthy, loving man. The catfish is setting you up because the catfish is a damaged person. And what happens when a person is broken and damaged? They're looking for validation. They're looking for self-worth. Rather than earn it, they'll put on a show and deceive. All right? Basically what they're looking to do is, if they see something in you they love, your heart, your fire, your passion, well, that's what they want. And that's what they're going to take from you. They can't have it, they're going to take it from you. But the thing is, they can't take it from you and have it themselves. They just destroy you along with themselves. Right? That's what happens. If you have a place, whether it be a job or a family, if you're a man and you've got a family and you've got a good family and a woman sees it and she don't have that and she sees that nice house, she sees that nice car, she sees those kids, she wants that, she will deceive you, little buddy. She will coax you across that line. As soon as she does, she'll try to take it. But usually she can't. But what happens is now she just destroyed you and your relationship, so she's conquered. And it could be the guy from a girl. It gets something from the girl from the guy. You see what I'm saying? The catfish they try to take your place, your life, your respect, even your honor, even your church, at the expense of you and the people involved. Because a catfish is all about their own selfish desires. Catfish can be a person at work who wants your position, wants your respect, wants your authority. And they'll play up to you until you find out what's going on in the lunchroom, in the break room. Anything to destroy you. Because they want what you have and they can't have it. So they'll take it. Unlike the online catfish, the catfish is always about their own personal desires, okay? They will try to steal your heart, steal your soul, steal your spirit, steal your joy, steal your peace, steal your light, steal your life. No remorse, no heart, no conscience. Well, they kind of do have a conscience. And this shows they always apologize when they get caught. You know why they're apologizing? Because they got caught. They're not sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. This is the world we live in. Which is why in the Christian community, we got to be different, folks. We got to be the real thing. By the way, if you're the real thing, the enemy is going to send people to attack it, and to attack you, and to attack the church, and to attack all these other things that you hold dear to. So how do you recognize a lover from a thief? Okay. How do you recognize a lover from a thief? The lover gives you honor, respect. He will never compromise you. He will give you value. He reveals the real you that is very deep inside you, the real you that God created you to be. And that's a spiritual and a physical thing, okay? And it can be emotional. I mean, when the physical and emotional are tied together. But what I'm saying is, if that guy is a true lover, he builds you. He doesn't take from you. And vice versa. Now the thief, the Bible says the thief, the snake, Satan, the devil, the father of lies, that he prowls around like a roaring lion looking for whom he can devour. Well, there's those earthly lions too. They don't have to be, but they're just looking to steal your soul, your life. See, the thief gets you to expose your heart, expose your deepest desires. You know why he wants to do that? So he can destroy it. So I've got to ask you a question. Who killed Jesus? Who killed Jesus?
The devil.
Was it the Jews? I mean, it was the Sanhedrin that plotted. It was the Sanhedrin and the priests, right, that set him up. They went to Pilate. Were they who killed him? No. Wait a minute. Was it the Romans? Was it Pilate? Was it the Roman soldiers who hung him, nailed him, put the crowns on him, beat him? Huh? No. Wait a minute. Who killed Jesus? Was it the crowd?
Yep.
The people who Jesus loved and healed and touched and did miracles and fed, and then they said, crucify him, crucify him. So, who killed Jesus? When Satan, the thief, the father of lies, decided to kill Jesus, he used all of these to kill Jesus. To the Jews, he appealed to their selfish desires in their heart. They wanted to rule. They wanted to be in control. They wanted power. And if they gave it, if they recognized Jesus, what did they just do? They give it all away to Jesus. But they wanted the control. They wanted the power. The Romans, he's a king. No, we're a king. You understand how it fought the inner desires of their heart? No, we're king. You know, we got our own king. He's in Rome. And the people, they want to be loved, they want to be accepted. They gave into the manipulation of the priest. Satan always appeals to our selfish desires. Okay? He will maneuver, he will manipulate, he will use your desires against you. So in Jerusalem, when he was going to be crucified, right? The Romans were Satan's pawns. The Jews were Satan's pawns. The crowd was Satan's pawns. And you know what Satan did? He catfished them. Yeah. He used their heart against them. He used their desires against them. He catfished them. Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. Satan used her and his selfish desires to be like God against them. Okay? He catfished them. He hung them. Right? And Adam and Eve become a pawn in Satan's hand. Satan used Eve against herself. She used Eve against God. You guys get it? David and Bathsheba. You know, King David and Bathsheba, you know. He's home. She's over there. And he's up top. He sees her taking a bath. He lusts for her. Has her husband killed. Has sex with her. Gets her pregnant. You guys get all that? See how the devil appeared to his selfish desires? She's beautiful. She had, I want that. To the point that King David, the man after God's own heart, would kill her husband. Have him killed, put him on the front line. You guys get it? Satan always appears to his selfish desires. He catfished them. They bit. And guess what? David became a pawn in Satan's hand. You know, this kind of plays out in our life every day, doesn't it? It does. It plays out every day. Like Adam and Eve, or David and Bathsheba, or the crowd, or the Romans, or the Jews, you and I are not above being deceived. That's right. If it appeals to our inward desires, our selfish desires, our wants, our hurts. Not just the good stuff, but our hurts. Why will people in their right mind go and destroy somebody when they've been destroyed themselves? They know how it hurts, but they'll go and do it. And how is it that they can destroy relationships, homes, and never even think twice about it? They gave into the desires one day, and one day, Satan owns their mind, and he owns their heart. Anyway. Satan appeals to our selfish desires. He catfishes us. Get him say that. To set us up. Want that new house? Want that new car? Want that respect? Want that honor? Want that title? Want that? He deceives us, manipulates us to control us. By appealing to our selfish desires, he turns us into pawns. He uses us against God and against ourselves. This is simple. The deal. The deal. It's our fault. Our response. It's our own choice, our own fault. We have to own that. David didn't have to give in to those desires. Eve didn't have to give in to those desires. The Jews didn't have to give into it. The Romans didn't have to give into it. The crowd could have said no. But when he appeals to our desires, our hurts, our fears, our loneliness, our brokenness, our response to that is our fault. We have to own our response, no matter what mom and dad did to us, no matter what life has done to us, no matter what we've done wrong in the past too. The devil may catfish us, but it's our own desires and our own choices that is the actual trap. You guys get it? It's a simple stuff. This is stuff you hear preached all the time, but I'm going to go somewhere with it. Okay, here's a couple that I see every day, okay? Someone hurt you, and you can't forgive them. You can't forgive yourself. You can't let it go. Do you know what you did? Do you know what you did, single mom, to your children? Husband, do you know what you did that your wife don't even know what you did? You can't forgive yourself. You can't forgive. What is happening here? You're being catfished. Satan's setting you up. You know what? You can choose to forgive the person who hurt you. You can choose to forgive yourself. You just won't. You know why? Because he's got your mind. And he's using you as a pawn. Because as long as he can hold you in and hold that over you, and all those voices in your head telling you can't do this, you can't let it. Yeah, you can. You're listening to the enemy. That's his voice. You don't have to listen to him. You can let go. In fact, it's harder not to let go than it is to let go. It is harder not to heal than it is to heal. See, Satan's got you. You're a pawn. And he's going to destroy you and destroy you and destroy you. You say, that's enough. And you forgive. And you forgive yourself. Here's another one I see. And I didn't use anybody when I wrote these. I just kind of wrote these. I protect the names of the innocent. Satan come. Someone dies in your life and you love them. Say it's your mom or your dad or your grandma that you're close to. It doesn't matter who. It could be your child. I had to deal with a family this week that lost a child. He was 17. So how does the devil play on your selfish desires? You don't want to lose them. You don't want to let them go. You don't want them. And so the devil says, don't let them go. You can't let them go. Hold on to it. Hold on to it. Hold on to it. You can't let it go. Hold on to it. No, they won't love you if you don't hold on to them. You've been catfished. You've been deceived. In fact, if you love them and you want to honor them, then you make peace with God. But that's how the devil works. We become pawns. Okay, here's another one. And I kind of mentioned earlier where people reject you, abandon you, throw you away, abuse you. Maybe you failed at a job, or you failed at your marriage, or you failed as a parent. You know, that deep desire to be loved and accepted and wanted because people didn't love you. People threw you away. People walked away. Satan will use that. He'll use the anxiety. He will use the fear. He will use everything against you. And that is the devil in your head. And you are a pawn in his hand. And he will destroy your next marriage and your next marriage or your next relationship. And he'll control your life. And anytime he wants to laugh and have a good time, he'll push that button. You guys get it? See, the devil, the thief, the enemy, he will confuse us to chase after things that were never meant to bring healing, love, or intimacy, or acceptance that we desire. He appeals to our passion. He appeals to the part that hurts, and then he owns us. Where am I going with this? I've got a question. Who is the real thief? Leon. You are your own thief. Oh, the enemy, the devil, he's called a thief because he still kills and destroys. I get that. Without our willingness, he has no power, no authority. He just appeals to our selfish desires. our hurts. Is it selfish not to forgive someone? Yeah. Is it selfish not to forgive yourself? Yeah. Is it selfish not to forgive God? Yeah. Is it selfish not to let go? Yeah. Is it selfish to hold on? Yeah. Is it selfish to destroy yourself and your children and your children's children? Yes. Because it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. We are. The biblical thief, Satan the devil, he appeals our selfish desires. He appeals, and those appeals can be very powerful to resist. You think, I get it. Eve wanted power. She wanted authority. She wanted whatever she wanted. She wanted to be like God. I get it. Some people want power and authority. And that's how the devil gets you. By the way, the devil knows your weakness. He knows your soft spot. He knows. If he can get it, he can read your mind. But we're going to get into all that in the future lessons. The Bible's real clear. He can read your mind. I used to think if I didn't say my prayers out loud, he couldn't hear it. Oh, yeah, he can hear it. Oh, he can hear it. We don't go there. Especially physical love, lust. Oh, man, he'll destroy us. But we have free will to make our own choice just like they did. Everybody get that? We know that, right? Right? We must own our choices and our actions. Because if we're deceived, what did they say? We allow ourselves to be deceived. What did the Bible say? Don't be deceived. Don't deceive yourself. And Christine prayed. She was praying when she prayed earlier. She's right. You got to pray for discernment. You got to pray for vision. You got to pray to see what you can't see, to see through the eyes of God, to love through the eyes of God, to have discernment, to know. By the way, He knows how to get to us. So here's the deal. Here's my real point of this story today. We're the thief. How can you tell a lover from a thief? That was the sermon. Recognize a lover from a thief. Where are we going? Well, by the way, we don't have to live like this. This is where we're going. We don't have to live under the devil's control. We don't have to live under the devil's power. We don't have to let him use us as pawns. We don't have to give him power and authority over us. Because, here we go, 2 Peter chapter 1. We're going to start with verse 3 to 11. We're going to break it down. And Christine, would you read the first part? Verse 3.
His divine power has given us everything we need for our godly life, through our knowledge of Him, who called us by His own glory and goodness. Through these He has given us His very great and precious promises, so that through them you may participate in the divine nature, having escaped the corruption in the world caused by evil desires.
His divine power. I want to tell you, I want to lay something out that happened to me yesterday, okay? And I felt like a complete fool in the middle of it, and I felt like a complete fool in the end of the day. And this morning I was at the gym working out before I came here. Man, I was ashamed of myself. I'm trying to lose that weight, and it has been a fight. How can you lose 160 pounds, put 40 of it back on, but can't get it all? And this last month I lost 2 pounds. I was averaging 4.5 pounds a week. It wasn't even trying before, and I'm killing myself, and I can't. Because yesterday, I'm sitting there trying to do my sermons. You know what I do when I'm working on reports and sermons? I'm like a school teacher. You want to eat something, you're eating something, you're drinking. I'm eating, and I just eat, and I'm like, man, I go back to more, and refrigerator, and thing. Dana come in, give me this on the way home, and I'm eating and eating and eating. I couldn't stop, and I said, I need to stop this. I couldn't stop. I was still hungry. I wasn't hungry. I just ate 4 plates and 4 different things. What was going on? I was a spiritual attack, and I didn't even realize it. Oh my gosh. I've done 2 fasts in the last 6 months, and I went 5 days each without eating, and I never fought anything. But here's the deal. I had divine power because I committed it to God. I committed that to God, and God, I'm doing this for you, and I'm doing this for our purpose. And you know what? I don't know. That first day I was a little hard. It was not a fight. But yesterday, after eating 4 plates of food, and Dana bringing in more, and then cooking supper, and then me back in the cabinet after that. I ate all week worth of food in 1 day. It was a spiritual attack. I had divine power. I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to face that. I didn't have to fight that. But, I normally don't have to. It has been a fight. Why has it been a fight? The devil wants to win. And you know what? If I give into those desires, I wasn't hungry because I just ate, okay? Again and again and again and again and again and again. Yeah, I need that sometimes. But my point is this. I have divine power over that. You know what all I needed to do? How many people seen War Room? She come out and she started screaming, not in my house, I'm taking back power. You got to stand up to the devil. First you got to realize, one, what you're facing and what you're actually going through. That was out of the ordinary for me lately. But here's the deal. I don't care what it is. It could be sex. It could be pornography. It could be drinking. It could be food. It could be your attitude. It could be getting on the phone and gossiping. The devil will use your selfish desires against you. And here's what I was thinking. You said, man, I've worked so hard at the gym this week. I mean, I deserve it. And Dana, I'm going to beat her. I happened to notice in the cupboard there was a thing of icing for a cake.
That sounds like me.
And I was picking at her about going up and getting me a milkshake. And she was about to give in, and Drew's like, Daddy, he knew I was messing with her. She's giving it. You supposed to help me, woman. I said, I thought I saw some icing in the cabinet. She goes, yeah, I got some case you would want it. Oh, there's also cake mix, but she knows I'm just like the cake batter. Do you want the cake batter? No. Do you want the icing? No. Yeah. 5 minutes later, I'm sitting on the couch. Yeah. With a spoon, straight icing. I ate more yesterday than I did the entire last week. And how did the devil really fool me? Man, I'm hungry. I mean, I had to eat all week. I mean, I've worked hard all week. I need to get my strength back. My strength was fine.
Yeah.
It is so easy for the devil to confuse you. Divine power. And here's the deal. It's more than being able to look at something and go, in the name of Jesus, lead me. Jesus actually, when you get saved, he wants to change our nature. Where you want to sin, where there comes a day where you don't want to sin. Where you wanted to honor yourself and do whatever yourself wants, to where your divine nature wants to honor God and whatever God wants. So whatever your hang-up is, whatever your trick it is, whether it's hurts in the past, relationships in the past, whether it's anxiety, fear, doubt, the more closer you get to your divine nature, it's trying to turn you into a pawn so he can drive you around and destroy you. His divine power has given us everything we need for our godly life. I can't change my life, Jeff. I can't say no to drugs. I can't say no to sin. I can't say no to that girl. I can't say no to that book. I can't say no to that computer, that website. I can't say, yeah, you can. Because the Jesus in us, the Jesus in you, has given you divine power, everything you need for a godly life. You just got to choose. He appeals to our sinful desires. And we are the thief. He doesn't actually steal it. He sets us up, and we steal it. And I know you've heard this sermon many times over the years from many different pastors. I just wanted to frame it in a way that's a little bit different. Where am I going with this? Divine nature. Jesus died and he rose from the grave that we could have divine power to exchange. Listen to me. The word is exchange. Exchange our sinful desires for godly desires. By the way, if you don't know how to find God, I know I have that power, but I can't find it. God, I know I have that authority. I know I want that divine nature, but I ain't figured it out yet. I ain't got there yet. Well, that's your prayer. God told me how to have divine power. Show me how to use it. God, change my nature. Show me how to have it. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you got a choice. But in your flesh, in my flesh last night, I had zero power to say no. I wasn't in the spirit. So when I realized what was going on, I was like, I'm a freaking idiot. And you know what I did? I ate the icing anyway. Guys, get it? And I'm going to get up here this morning and teach this sermon. I'm at the gym going, uh-oh. Oh, I get it. See, God's trying to change the rest of the things in us, in our nature, in our heart, in our minds, that we're ready to be used the way Christine was talking about earlier. You can't go in and take on the enemy when you can't stand in your own power and your own authority with Christ, His power and authority for your own life. And if you want to go fight for somebody else's life and you can't even stand in your own life, the devil will eat you alive. And that's why today I'm real careful who I take when we go to pray over somebody's home or do an entire session, where before I wasn't, so now I'm really guarded. Because some people aren't ready for that fight. And they can't stand yet. They will be. That's why we're trying to build it into us so we can be used. The divine power has to be a real thing in our lives and in our ministry and in your life. The divine nature has to take over us too. You know what holiness means? You can still go sin, but you don't want to. You're still tempted, but you don't give in. Because you want to honor God more than you want to give in to your own desires. Almost done. I only got 20 pages left. Forrest. This is the second part of 2 Peter 1.
Goodness, and to goodness knowledge, and to knowledge self-control, and to self-control perseverance, and to perseverance godliness, and to godliness mutual affection, and to mutual affection love. For if you possess these qualities in increasing measure, they will keep you from being ineffective and unproductive in your knowledge of our Lord Jesus Christ. But whoever does not have them whoever does not have them is nearsighted and blind, forgetting that they have been cleansed from their past sins.
Yeah. Make every effort to add to your faith. Is faith the only answer to fighting your battles and winning your things and being healed? Add to your faith goodness, and to goodness knowledge, and to knowledge self-control, and to self-control perseverance, and to perseverance godliness, and to godliness mutual affection, and to mutual affection love. It says to add. Make every effort. You know what Christians do when they leave church on Sunday? Everything's already been done. The church is sang for you. They've preached to you. They've read the Word of God to you. You're good. That's not making every effort. Make every effort. There is spiritual disciplines of praying and reading the Bible, spending time alone with God. When I spend time alone with God, maybe sitting up at the lake looking at His beauty. Lord, I praise you. This is beautiful. If you don't invest in yourself, you'll never get there, and I will never be able to get you there. If you don't face your hurts, your pains, if you don't make choices like Catherine said last week, God spoke, and I faced that. And you know what? You know what? When you face, you ain't going to change nothing unless you face it. And if you don't face yourself, if you don't change some of your own behaviors, your own discipline, your own lack of discipline, if you can't change some of them, a class for men, being fathers and husbands and men, it could only help so far. It's when you wake up and you look yourself in the mirror in the morning, you go, I'm changing me. I'm being who God wants me to be. That's good, and that's good, but you know what? I'm going to live differently. I'm going to think differently. I'm going to act differently. I'm going to have that divine nature. I'm going to have that divine power. I'm going to live in it. And I want my family, I want my friends to look at me and go, you're different. You're changed. What's different about you? You love now. You used to storm off. You used to get mad. You used to kick holes in the wall. You used to tune us out. You used to check out. You're not doing that anymore. You're praying for me. You're praying for us. You're loving us. You go from being the agitator to being a mediator. You go from causing hate and discontent to being a healer. We need the divine nature in our Christian homes. And we need divine power in our Christian lives. It says, make every effort. Make every effort. And it says this, with increasing measure. Increasing measure. Okay, you guys get where I'm going? Okay? All right. Now, I told you where we're going with the church, and where we've been going to the church all along, that we're kind of where we want to be. So most people do not know how to live in that divine power. How to live in the Spirit of God. We don't. We think being in the Spirit of God is when we're jumping and that's worship, but that ain't necessarily being in the Spirit. Okay? Woo! How do you have divine power? You walk down the street and somebody who's just sitting there all of a sudden starts crying and calls out to you, and you go over to them because they called you over. Will you pray for me? They didn't know you were a Christian. You didn't say nothing. You didn't even look at them. You didn't even see them. But because you walked by, somebody spoke, somebody reached out, because in their own spirit, in their own death and destruction, in their own brokenness, they felt something about you, and you're different. Something in you is real. Something in you is alive. That they would reach out to a total stranger and say, pray for me. If you don't know you got the Spirit of God, let that happen. And you got the Spirit of God. But you just want to jump around? Oh, that's good too. It's good to worship. It's good to be among. But you know what? What the Bible has called us to is a deeper walk with God, a deeper commitment to God, a deeper part of the Spirit. I'm going to get myself in trouble. And the other thing we're going to do is we're going to help people understand that divine power, but also how to use it. Okay? How to use it. One last section here. And, Mike, you read for me? Verse 10 through 11. The last two verses.
Therefore, my brothers and sisters, make every effort to confirm your calling and election. For if you do these things, you will never stumble, and you will receive a rich welcome into the eternal kingdom of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Make every effort. See, Jesus died on the cross. He rose from the grave. He is doing his part. But he needs us to, when it comes to changing your life and transforming your life, it ain't a magic wand. He does a magic wand. He makes the path straight. He heals. He does the things you can't do. But there's parts that he wants us to do. We're part of the solution. We're part of the process. And make every effort to confirm your calling and election. What does that mean? I'm going to read you what I just took right. It says, by doing these things that they had earlier, by growing your faith, your virtue, your knowledge, your self-control, your perseverance, your godliness, your brotherly kindness and love. When these things happen in our life, we are becoming more like Jesus every day. And that is what he's asking us. Increase daily from the slide before. To increase, to be more like Christ. Most of us, I had you write letters in January. Remember that? For those of you who were here? Why don't I have you write letters to yourself or a promise to God or whatever? Because I want you in a year to look at yourself and to see where you are from where you used to be. And some of us are going to go, wow, God has really changed me. You know what? I really changed the part I needed to change. Or you can look at it and go, man, I failed. It isn't to humble. It isn't to humiliate. I want you guys to find what God wants, and that is that you'll conform to his image. You know, conform to his image. We're part of the process. It says if you do these things, you will never stumble. How many people stumble all the time? How many people know the right thing? Do the right thing? How many people have to pray the same prayer every day? Lord, forgive me for that every day of your life for the last 50 years. That's pretty close, actually. You get what I'm saying? You just keep, more than being a butthead. I can't even get that out. A butthead, being rude, being mean, being angry, being resentful, hurting people, punishing people, being mean to people, giving into that same sin. And I saw that frown. I saw you trying to hide that back there. Anyway. And he says, if you do these things, if you grow, if you feed, if you invest, you let God invest in you, if you let God change your nature. See, you can change your action, but God changes the nature. If these things happen, you will never stumble. Don't they? I mean, who wants to be there one day? Where, you know what? You're blameless. And thank you, my young man. Thank you. Hey, I'm taking you to the church where I was last Sunday afternoon, and we're going to praise God because you know how to raise your hand. Hey! Yeah! Damn. Where am I going with this? The issue that we have is simply the man in the mirror. Okay? And Paul, this is breaking down what Peter said, to have a proper appreciation of prophecy. We don't. God is in everything. that's happening in our country, that's happening in your life. To live holy and godly lives while awaiting Christ's coming, to grow in grace and knowledge of our Lord. And this one last thing, 1 Timothy 6:21. There, Timothy, therefore, guard what God has entrusted into your care. Turn away from godless chatter and opposing ideas of what is falsely called knowledge, which some have professed and doing so departed from the faith. You might be a Baptist background, but once saved, always saved. But Paul's talking about departing from the faith. If you listen to the wrong people, they'll lead you down the wrong path. If you listen to yourself, if you don't know how to tell the difference between your voice, your subconscious, the enemy, and the Lord, you're in trouble. And where am I going with this? 2 quotes and then a question. If you had really handed yourself over to Jesus, it must follow that you are trying to obey Him, not hoping to get into heaven as a reward for your actions, but inevitably wanting to act in a certain way because a first faint gleam of heaven is already inside of you. What it's saying is if you're a real Christian, you shouldn't have to be forced to obey. There should be something deep inside that you want to obey. Not for anything for you, because that's selfish, but because you want to honor Him. This is from Shelley. Like, some of us don't want to be free because we realize that freedom and responsibility are linked. That if I'm free and I make choices, then I am responsible for the outcome of those choices, which leads to anxiety. So if most of us don't change because we don't want to change. We don't want to let go. I don't care how miserable we really are, how self-destructive we are. The real reason most of us don't change and don't grow and don't heal is for that reason. So here's the deal. How do you recognize a lover from a thief? See, Jesus is your lover. He's the lover of your soul. He is our lover. He died on that cross. And He says He's coming back for His bride. He's coming back for you. He is your lover. But here's how I'm going to end this. It's a question. Am I a lover or a thief? Are you a lover or a thief? Am I a lover or a thief? Yeah, I know. You guys get it? Jesus is the lover, the enemy is the thief. But who are we? So there's a song here. Not by the verse that I've been using for this whole little part. Zechariah 4:6 is not by might nor by power, but my spirit, says the Lord Almighty. You said, Jeff, I can't beat it. I can't. Yeah, you can. Not in your flesh, but in the Spirit of God, you can. Jeff, I can't. Yes, you can. In the Spirit of God, you can. You can in the Spirit of God. You've got to get before God, and you can say, God, I can't, but you can. God, I can't say no to that, what was happening in my house yesterday. I can't say no to the lust, but you know who can? He can. Through His Spirit. You can't say no to the hurt. You can't say no to being self-destructive. You can't say no going back to. Yeah, you can. In the Spirit of God, you can. So I'll put a song on. How to recognize a lover from a thief. And the question is, are you a lover or a thief? Because you know what Jesus deserves from us? Everything. Our heart, our life, our loyalty, our dedication, our commitment, our character to be different. Going back to the song, to be different. So, if you want to come and pray, I encourage you to come.